always to whoever comes to me in their second, third, and fourth year. When students come to me, I always say that as a second year student, go for holistic. As a third year, also preferably go for holistic. But if not, at least go for interview growth camp, because that is where you will learn how to plan things for your long term interview. The major problem with law students these days is they keep fighting for internships, collecting certificates, but they don't realize that the end goal is not internship but the job. So to secure that job, even if you are able to get yourself shortlisted for the PPO and then not able to crack the interview, it costs you a lot. Your immediate senior was interning at Indus, and she faced this very badly. Like, she didn't get enough time to prepare for the interview, and then at the last moment when she came to me, Samanaka, I have an interview. I told her, I'm so sorry, I'm traveling, because at that point of time I was in train, so I couldn't help her. And that is very important thing you said, that if you do not have enough time for yourself, it might happen that the other person might not be available. It has happened with me that, like, I had a completely jam-packed schedule, and then suddenly at 11:30 in the night a girl messages me from Jammu that I have an interview and I really need your help. Now, even though at personal front I really wanted to help, but professionally I had zero time to accommodate. Luckily, still my other mentees were accommodative enough that I requested them that, can I shift your schedule, and then we somehow fit her in, and luckily she got the job also. But honestly, like you actually said, it becomes very difficult for a mentor also to work on all the aspects we want to. When a student comes to me saying that I just have 3 hours to prepare for an interview, and then I have only 1 day or 2 day left because I got a confirmation call. So I honestly feel that if not third year, if not fourth year, at least on the day of you applying for that job, you should start preparing for the interview. Whether you come to us, whether you go to anybody else, whether you prepare on your own, you cannot just say that I was waiting for the confirmation to come first and then I'll start preparing, because then it's already too late. You've already it becomes difficult. The technical part, to be very honest, I've seen that people panic more about the technical part, what to remember, what not to remember. But trust me, it is the HR part which plays a much important role, because ultimately they're not hiring robots, they're not hiring machines, they're hiring humans. They want to see you as an overall personality. And if you're not able to convey that, you might have been the bestest of person with good amount of knowledge, but if you come across as an extremely cutthroat person, as an extremely reserved person who cannot adjust in a team, then it would become difficult. They may not hire you because you might not give them the good vibes. So what Pragya was saying, why I asked her to watch those joke videos or the comic videos, was not because I ask everybody to crack jokes during the interview. Yes, that is definitely a disclaimer, that if you come to me for interview preparation, I'll definitely ask you to watch Basi ke videos. But the purpose of that is so that you're not panicking, so that you're not being excessively serious and giving those negative vibes that, okay, like, I don't know what is happening. You're like those because your body language speaks a lot. So the reason I ask people to watch fun videos or good music before the interview is so that they're calm, chill, and they're smiling, spreading good positive vibes. So the interviewer also feels that, okay, fine, if this person is not panicking, that means tomorrow, if see, as lawyers, if we are joining, from day one we end up representing the company or the firm in front of the clients. And there you wouldn't want that, okay, because I'm a first month trainee here, so if you're sent before the client, you shouldn't start panicking. You shouldn't start giving the vibes to the client that, okay, she's a fresher, she may not know much, because the firm relies upon you, that you can represent them, you can represent their brand before the client. I remember when I was working at HSA, suddenly my senior's family had some medical emergency, and we had to give a presentation to a very prominent client. Their team had flown from China just to attend this presentation, and since sir had to immediately leave for that medical emergency, I was asked to prepare the presentation. Now, of course, at the end of the day, the presentation was given by another partner, but I was there as the backup. Like, I had only prepared the entire presentation. I discussed with the other team's partner who actually gave the presentation, told him all the flaws, all the doubts, all the queries we can come across, so that he's already aware of the answers, because he was the tax partner. he didn't know much about how that contract was read and all. So we had like multiple rounds of discussions. Now imagine if at that point of time I would have panicked that, okay, so because he was the tax partner, he didn't know the depth of the details of the contract and how, what kind of questions can he expect. So as a fresh first month or like first 6 month trainee, I couldn't have taken that excuse that, okay, because I'm a fresher, I would panic. No, I need somebody else to cover up for me. Law firms expect you that if they are paying you so very well, they can actually rely on you also. It shouldn't be just one-sided thing. So that's why I ask you to watch joke videos or comic videos. So please don't judge us based on that. But yes, that's a disclaimer. If you come to me, I might ask you also to do the same. And secondly, what Pragya said was very important, that timely preparation. The earlier you start, the better. So briefly, for those of you who didn't understand what interview growth camp is or holistic growth camp is, what Pragya was talking about, I'll slightly elaborate about that. So interview growth camp is the program which we have created at Your Legal Career Coach, where the students who are very sure about a particular firm they are sitting for, a particular team they are sitting for, and they just need our help in preparing for the job interview, be it law students or law graduates, even professionals who are going for lateral shifts have come to us to prepare for the interviews. So this is basically around 7 to 10 hour program where you get 3 sessions recordings or live sessions depending on when you enroll. The first class is on HR round, which goes on for 2.5, 3 hours, where I explain in depth about each and every question in the HR round you can expect from the recruiter. And the reason I take so long to explain it is because I explain you the psychology behind it. So I've been recommended by Indian Army JAG, and if you know, the SSB procedure is all about psychology. I was part of NUJS recruitment committee for 3 years, and I was Law Seekers placement head also. Have been running YLCC for past 1 year. So this entire experience of seeing recruitments from both sides, having spoken to almost all the big law firms recruiting partners, trying to understand their psychology, that is what I share there. That if a recruiter is asking you this question, do not just focus on what you want to say. First, try to think about why is he asking you that. If he's saying, tell me something about yourself, why is he wasting his time in asking you to tell him about something, tell him something about yourself if he already has your CV, if he can already stalk you on LinkedIn, right? Why is he like spending those 4 or 5 extra minutes? If he's asking you about your strengths and weaknesses, what is his purpose of knowing your strengths and weaknesses? You are applying for a professional role, so why should somebody get to know about your strengths and weaknesses and all those things? Again, salary negotiation part, how should you negotiate, what should be your expectations at different stages with different firms? I've seen people going to tier 3 firms and expecting tier 1 packages, or going to startups and asking for 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 18 lakhs kind of packages also. And then they say that, oh, we were the best candidate, yet they didn't hire us. So there are a lot of things, a lot of mistakes we commit while we speak about ourselves or about our expectations or about our self understanding of ourselves. And that is where we end up losing opportunities. So to be very honest, I've said this on record so many times, I'll repeat it, that I was able to secure HSA's law firm job offer only on the basis of the HR round. Probably if I had a technical round, I might not have been able to make it, because the interview was just scheduled like 2 days in advance and I was having my end semester exams. So I did not have enough time to prepare for the technical round. But one thing which I did was I had thoroughly prepared for the HR part. And HR is something you don't prepare overnight. Like, it's about your self understanding of yourself. How much introspection do you do on your daily basis? And then you put things together in a structured manner to share about yourself. So that is what we cover in the HR round, first class. Second class is your technical round, where I explain you how you shouldn't be reading anything and everything under the sun. We've seen it happening with our friends, our juniors, everybody, that just before the interview, you see all the internship notes, Companies Act ka bare act hoga, Constitution ka PSA Pillai, sorry, Criminal Law PSA Pillai will be there, Constitution Law, VN Shukla will be there, and like 4 or 5 books will be there on the bed, and there will be so many photocopied notes and internship notes and everything. And the person would be lost, that what do I do? Maybe surrounded by a lot of soft drinks and like food, junk food and everything, and yet it becomes difficult to prepare. And then what happens is, on the day of the interview, when you actually go for campus placement, your face looks so dull because you haven't slept for nights, right? It seems like as if I don't know what substance were you using for so long that your face is looking so dead. But on the other hand, if you already have the structured manner ready with you, if you're preparing in a very calm and composed manner, so on the day of the interview, you will also look very cheerful, very energetic, very positive, and you'll not look like dull, half dead kind of thing. So that is what we cover in the technical round. Again, the class goes on for 2.5 hours, where again, a lot of people have this confusion when they come to me for interview prep. They say, Samanaka, will you give us a list of questions we should prepare? It is not like a end semester exam or a open book exam where I have created kind of a dookie for interviews that, okay, these are the 50 questions you should prepare and interview yahin se hoga. No, that is not what we cover. All the students who've cracked interviews in the past also will tell you that we never tell you what to prepare. We only tell you how to prepare, because each individual student's learning experience differs from the other. Two best friends interning at the same firm during the same duration might not get the same work. So if you do not have the same thing in your CV, how can I tell you that, okay, you should just prepare this or just prepare that? But yes, based on your CV and everything, we do have like separate one-on-one rounds. But before that, there's a third round of the third round of the interview growth camp, the third class, where the students get to interact with people who've already cracked interviews. So Pragya had met Yamini, who also happens to be from her college only. They both will be joining the same firm. But along with Yamini, they also met Mr. Shayan Pradhan. He was the partner at AZB. He was a partner at HSA and then at Argus Partners. Currently, he's doing an independent practice. So he has completely different way of taking interviews. His focus remains more towards the HR side, how the overall personality of the person matters. So therefore, you get to interact with a student as well as a professional who share their own individual experiences of what, according to them, do the recruiters expect from you. So that gives you a holistic picture of how to prepare for the interview. And thereafter, you get your one-on-one call scheduled with me or YLCC mentors, where we review your CV. And based on your CV, then we ask you to answer your questions. Either you do a mock round interview with us, or what we do is generally we ask the students to write their answers in a Google Doc format, so that we can sit together and help you polish and structure your answers better, because answers would remain yours, but how to actually present them makes the most important difference. So this is all about the interview growth camp. You can enroll for this if you are very sure about which firm, which department, which vertical you are applying for, and you have an interview schedule. However, for those students, like Pragya had said, that in your second, third year or even fourth year, when you're not very sure which area should we go for, because a lot of students have their mid law school crisis towards the mid of their third year. Fifth, sixth semester is the time where they start doubting, because if everybody else is running a rat race, they're like, we don't want to do this, but we don't even know what all options are there. For you guys, we've prepared a detailed holistic development program. As the word says, it actually promises your holistic growth, because trust me, if you come in the batch and you attend every session sincerely, you'll not end up going as the person you entered. You would have full clarity about things. You would know how to like own your success story on your own self. You wouldn't need somebody else's, you wouldn't need hand holding, forget about just spoon feeding. So there we cover everything. Like the first class is a 3-hour class where we explain in depth about careers in law. And thereafter we go towards how to draft your CV, how to draft your cover letter. Again, I've seen a lot of people coming to me and saying that, Samarika, we don't need a class on CV. We already know how to draft a CV. And trust me, when I actually sit down to review their CVs, or like just before the interview prep, when we go through their CVs, we do realize the amount of blunders they've committed, the common blunders. Because again, when they say we already know how to draft a CV, they just focus on the template. They do not think from the point of view of the stage of interview. What all questions will the CV what do I say, attract? Will the CV attract if this CV is sent? And again, people feel that, okay, maybe they should get their CVs reviewed just before they're sitting for their interview. But again, that is also a very wrong approach, because you never know that because of the same CV, you might get a call back from the internship place where you are interning, and then might even get an opportunity to sit for the PPO. On the day of the PPO, you cannot tell them that, no, I do not want to be interviewed from this CV, but maybe some other CV, because like Pragya was saying that if she had done work related to domestic violence and it was there in the first CV, and if she's getting a PP opportunity at the same firm, that part of domestic violence will remain in the CV unless and until she had removed it before submitting that. So during the interview, again, if they ask you from there, you will be like, oh shit, I didn't get enough time to prepare for that, or I didn't focus enough that, okay, I might even get questions from there. Because anything and everything which is there in your CV, see, as recruiters or as interviewers, we do know that, okay, if a student is applying for corp job, we should focus more on the corporate questions, or if the student is applying for competition, we should focus more on competition. But in addition to that, we also try to test, because especially at the CV stage, I have said this enough number of times, that at the CV shortlisting stage, it is not a selection procedure but a rejection procedure.